Humanity is often misled, with many of the things we see and the stories we hear being deceptive. The older generation, particularly Christians, often dismiss or avoid ancient scriptures like the Book of Enoch. These texts, which were seemingly excluded from the Bible on purpose, my conclusion, reveal intriguing details, such as the names of fallen angels in chapters 7 and 8. Interestingly, these names appear in some of the games and cartoons our children engage with today. This suggests that the teachings from ancient times, imparted by the Watchers, continue to influence us in various ways, including through modern media. The older generation's ignorance plays a role in this ongoing deception. In chapter 8 of the Book of Enoch, several fallen angels known as the Watchers taught humanity various forbidden knowledge and skills. Here are the key lessons and their impacts. Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates, as well as the art of making mirrors, bracelets, and ornaments. He also introduced the use of cosmetics and dyes. These teachings led to increased violence and vanity, contributing to moral corruption and societal decay. Increased violence, metalwork, and weaponry. Azazel's teaching of metalwork led to the creation of swords, knives, and shields. These weapons could be used for protection, but also for violence and aggression. The availability of these weapons escalated conflicts, leading to more frequent and intense violence. The emphasis on metalwork and weaponry fostered a culture of aggression, where violence was seen as a means to resolve disputes. Vanity, cosmetics, and adornments. Azazel's introduction of cosmetics and dyes led to the creation of beauty products and adornments. While these can enhance one's appearance, they can also foster vanity. The emphasis on cosmetics and adornments led people to focus excessively on their physical appearance rather than inner qualities like kindness, empathy, and wisdom. The pursuit of beauty and adornments led to materialism and superficiality, where people prioritize external appearances over inner values. Amazarek taught all forms of sorcery and root cutting. This knowledge promoted the practice of witchcraft and divination, leading to spiritual corruption and the spread of occult practices. Consequences of Amazarek's teachings. Promoting witchcraft and divination. Amazarek's teachings encouraged people to explore and practice witchcraft, divination, and other forms of occultism. This led to a focus on gaining power, control, or insight through supernatural means rather than spiritual growth in the knowledge of God. The emphasis on sorcery and root-cutting corrupted people's spiritual values, leading them to prioritize material gain, power, or self-interest over spiritual principles. Spread of occult practices. Amazarek's teachings contributed to the spread of occult practices, such as witchcraft, astrology, or demonology. This led to a proliferation of dark or malevolent spiritual practices. Armas taught the resolution of enchantments. This furthered the use of magic and spells, undermining natural order and divine laws. Armoros taught people how to break or reverse enchantments, which led to a greater understanding and manipulation of magical forces, furthering the use of magic and spells. By teaching the resolution of enchantments, Armas inadvertently promoted the use of magic and spells, potentially leading to an increased reliance on supernatural forces. Barakijal taught the observation of the stars, astrology. Astrology became a means of predicting and influencing human behavior, diverting people from faith and divine providence. Barkial taught people how to observe and interpret the movements of the stars, which led to the development of astrology. Consequences of Barakijal's teachings. Predicting and influencing human behavior. Astrology became a means of predicting human behavior, personality traits, and future events. This led people to believe that their lives were predetermined by the stars rather than being guided by divine providence, diverting people from faith in divine providence. By placing emphasis on the stars and astrology, people begun to rely more on celestial bodies and less on divine guidance. This has led to a decline in faith and trust in a higher power.
Kokubile taught signs. This knowledge contributed to the development of various forms of divination and omens, fostering superstition. Consequences of Kokubile's teachings. Development of divination and omens. Kokubile's teachings on signs led to the development of various forms of divination, such as reading omens, augury, or haruspicy. This fostered a culture of seeking guidance from external signs rather than relying on inner wisdom or spiritual guidance. Fostering superstition. The emphasis on signs and divination contributed to the growth of superstition, where people attributed meaning to random events or natural phenomena. This led to a lack of critical thinking and a reliance on unsubstantiated beliefs. Impact on society. The reliance on signs and divination have created a culture of fear and anxiety, where people constantly seek reassurance or guidance from external sources. Tamil taught humanity astronomy. While astronomy can be a legitimate science in this context, it was used for astrological purposes, leading to misguided beliefs and practices. Potential impact. Astrological purposes. In this context, Tamil's teachings on astronomy were likely used for astrological purposes, such as predicting personality traits, future events, or fortune. This led to a focus on the supposed influence of celestial bodies on human affairs. Misguided beliefs and practices. The use of astronomy for astrological purposes contributed to the development of misguided beliefs and practices. People began to attribute supernatural or mystical powers to celestial bodies, rather than understanding their natural movements and patterns. Enoch taught humanity the motion of the moon. This knowledge was probably used in conjunction with astrology and other occult practices, furthering spiritual deception. Consequences. Lunar worship and idolatry. The emphasis on the moon's motion led to lunar worship and idolatry, where people attributed divine or mystical powers to the moon. Astrological determinism. Enoch's teachings reinforced astrological determinism, where people believed that their lives were controlled by celestial bodies rather than their own choices and actions. Spiritual confusion and disconnection. By promoting occult practices and astrology, Enoch's teachings contributed to spiritual confusion and disconnection, leading people away from authentic spiritual experiences and connections in the true God. These teachings from the Watchers introduced various forms of knowledge that, while potentially useful, were misused by humanity, leading to increased sinfulness and wickedness. The emphasis on violence, vanity, sorcery, and astrology diverted people from righteous living and contributed to the moral and spiritual decline observed in ancient times and echoed in some aspects of modern society. Forbidden knowledge classification. 1. Corruption of human nature. The Watchers' teachings were seen as corrupting human nature, leading people away from their inherent goodness and spiritual connection. 2. Promotion of occult practices. The Watchers' teachings promoted occult practices, such as sorcery, divination, and astrology, which were considered to be against God's will. 3. Disregard for divine laws. By sharing forbidden knowledge, the Watchers disregarded divine laws and encouraged humans to do the same, leading to chaos and disorder. 4. Unbalanced and misused power. The knowledge shared by the Watchers gave humans access to powerful forces, which they were not equipped to handle responsibly, leading to misuse and harm. 5. Separation from divine guidance. The Watchers' teachings distracted humans from their spiritual connection with their true Creator, Elohim, and divine guidance, leading them down a path of self-destruction. The consequences of the Watchers' forbidden knowledge were severe. Corruption and violence. Human society became corrupted, and violence increased as people used the knowledge for selfish and destructive purposes. Spiritual decline. The sharing of forbidden knowledge led to a decline in spiritual values and a disconnection from divine guidance. Divine intervention. The corruption and chaos caused by the Watchers' teachings ultimately led to divine intervention, as described in the Book of Enoch.
Thanks for watching. May the truth set you free and bring you closer to God, Elohim. Until next time, stay enlightened.